What's up folks, I'm Dev, and welcome back to The Art of War. First off, I would like to address the issue that everyone seems to have with the name of this series. Yes, I am now aware that there are no samurai in China. I originally thought that both China and Japan had their own form of samurai. I'm sorry, my mistake. Now that's out of the way, let's get into the guide. Today I'm going to be going into a little bit more depth around your character and equipment, but before we get started, I would like to correct something about the prestige and XP that I mentioned in my previous guide, and maybe explain it in a little bit more detail. Now, the prestige that you gain for your character is actually separate from the XP that your troops gain from battle. When unlocking gear or unlocking new units, you will first use up any XP that the troops have. They'll get their XP whenever you take them into a fight with you. You can see what XP they've got if you hover over the troop or in the left hand side of their upgrade menu. If you want to unlock something in the upgrades menu and the troop doesn't have enough XP, it will then use your prestige to cover the difference. That's why it shows XP, then prestige, and then your total. This is the total amount that you'll have to unlock things for this troop if you wanted to use your character's prestige. It is recommended that you use the troop XP for unlocking new troops and equipment, while keeping your prestige for purchasing new lieutenants, because as you can see, they do get quite expensive. You can get around this a little bit by exchanging XP for prestige. If you have troops that have XP but you no longer need it, you can transfer the XP into your character's prestige, but this will cost you some gold. Okay, so now we're going to look at your equipment, specifically the armor. The way they've done armor in this game is incredibly intricate. As explained in my previous guide, the armor is split into cloth, leather and metal, and the damage types are split into slashing, crushing and piercing damage. Each type is strong against one type of damage, while weak to another. So cloth is strong against crushing damage, weak against piercing damage. Leather is strong against piercing damage, weak against slashing damage. Finally metal, it's strong against slashing damage, weak against crushing damage. If the armor doesn't mention whether it's strong or weak to a certain attack, that attack will just do normal damage. You also have to consider how much defense the armor will give you against range attacks. This is on top of the armor type, as different types of ranged ammo has its own damage type. For example, arrows are piercing damage. There may also be other restrictions to using the armor, such as being unable to ride a horse while wearing it. Now the next important thing you need to think about with your armor is body coverage. The character hitboxes in Tiger Knight have been split into 14 pieces. Where you get hit will decide how much damage is caused, with the arms and legs doing the least damage, then the body, and then the head doing the most amount of damage. Armor can cover any number of these areas, so this light armor here only protects the chest and the left shoulder, leaving open weak points for the enemy to exploit. Heavy armor will often cover more areas of the body, but will slow you down and restrict your movement. The suit on the screen is a full metal outfit. Without the right weapons, the enemy would seriously struggle to defeat you if you were wearing this. Armor can cover multiple areas, so different armor pieces can actually overlap, covering an area with multiple layers of armor. On this troop, you can see the shoulder armor is actually big enough to cover both the chest and the shoulder, meaning the chest is now covered by 2 layers of metal armor. To damage a player wearing this with the incorrect weapon would be incredibly difficult. The character designs are great, and you can usually tell by just looking at a player what type of armor they're wearing, as well as what it covers. This is why it's important to pay attention to your enemy's equipment and choose the right weapon for the circumstance. So for an example, if I have my swordsman leather armor equipped, I have 29 leather protection over my full body area, as well as my left shoulder. If I then equip the Dubile leather shoulder armor, you can see this also covers my left shoulder. This means I have a total of 55 leather protection on the left shoulder. If you look at the rabbit gloves, they do give you more leather protection, but as you can see, they only cover your hands. You can even combine protection types, so if I equip my heavy iron Aventail, you can see I now have 29 leather defense and 36 metal defense on my left shoulder. Once again, the variety in this game and the amount that you can fine tune is incredible. Now I'm quickly going to run through how your armor can affect your character. You can see your stats in the bottom right corner. All equipment has a weight which will directly affect these stats. So if you're looking to be a nimble fighter or a bowman that can escape conflict quickly, keep an eye on your total weight. I've recently realized that the acceleration is also important, because when you hold forwards, you'll gradually get faster until you're at full speed, as long as you don't run into anything. Stop. Get out of my way! Get out of my way! No, I want to sprint! Get out of my... Stop it! Oh fuck. Now we're going to take a look at weapons. With over 400 weapons, none of them being the same, there is a lot to think about with weapons in Tiger Knight. Right now I'm just going to go over the stats and the differences between weapons, but I will be going into more detail about them in my next episode when I talk about combat. First of all, the shields. These are pretty straightforward. The anti-break tells you how much resistance it has against crashing damage, which is what you get when a person or horse charges you. The durability is its health, size is self-explanatory, the block speed will tell you how quickly you bring the shield up when you hit the block button, and then obviously the weight. Now the real weapons. So as I said, the weapons are broken up into slashing, piercing and crushing damage, which are all strong and weak to different types of armors. If you look at the weapons information, the first thing that it'll tell you is what type of damage it does and how much damage it does depending on the type of attack. So for example, the wooden paddle will do 58 crushing damage if you swing left, right or up, and 34 crushing damage if you swing down. If you look at the back sword, you see it does 46 slashing damage if you swing left or right. You can see there's no damage value for up or down swing attacks. This means this weapon doesn't have those types of attacks, so you can't swing up or down with this weapon. Keep this in mind when using weapons, because as you can see, the spiked stick does slashing damage if you swing up and piercing damage when you swing down. Weapons with multiple damage types like this can really help when dealing with a number of different enemies with different armor types. As you move down the weapon's stats, attack speed and weapon length are pretty self-explanatory. Back-end damage is how much percent of your damage you'll do if you hit the enemy with the red area of the weapon that's shown on the image to the right. The image will also show which parts of the weapon do full damage in green. The shield break shows how effective it is at breaking through a shield's defenses and knocking an enemy back. So then we have weight and energy damage. To be honest, I have no idea what energy damage is, so if you do know, please help us out and let us know in the comments. With weapons in Tiger Knight, there may be weapons with better stats, but it will all depend on your playstyle. So for example, I unlocked the bronze short sword. Even though this would allow me to attack from all angles and it does more damage, it's actually a lot shorter, which I don't really like, so I've gone back to using my old back sword until I get a better one. When looking at ranged weapons, you can see there is no damage type. This is because the damage is decided by the type of ammo that you use. The ranged weapon stats are pretty straightforward. All I'd say here is the attack speed is how fast you draw and shoot, and the basic shoot speed is how fast the arrow will travel when it's in the air. Weapon weights will affect your character's stats, but your overall equipment weight doesn't affect your attack speed. So here's a couple of quick tips that might just help that didn't really fit anywhere in the video. You can get gold without paying any money by completing achievements. As you complete achievements, your medal level will increase, and at each level you're rewarded with gold and other goodies. If you're running out of room in your barracks, you can disband a troop. You'll receive the copper as a refund. You get to keep all the equipment that you've unlocked with this troop, and you can rehire them at any time. They still have all the equipment that you've unlocked for them when they're rehired. If the level of the troop that you're taking into battle with you is lower than the level of your equipment stats will be scaled down to match. This is also the same if you have level 5 equipment and troops and you join a level 3 game, your equipment stats will be scaled down. If you haven't played the game yet and you're watching these guys to decide whether you'd like to play the game, here's a bit of gameplay footage so you can see what it's like. Right, let's do this.
Found the site.
Oh, and it's a camp. Oh, we've got incoming. We've got incoming! See if I can take it with him there. Will it let me? Come on. Damn you! No! Stop him! Taking this back, thanks very much. That didn't work out too well for you there, did it, buddy? Attack! me that easy. Run away! I'm surrounded.
无法办到。随我向前。
Come on then. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments or questions, just drop them in the comments section below. If you found the guide helpful, please don't forget to share it and click the like button, and make sure you don't miss out on any more Tiger Knight videos by hitting that subscribe button.